Awesome. How's the sound for everybody? Anyone not know what I'm saying right now? Welcome. I'm going to jump up here so you can all see me. This is the very first San Francisco's 10 by 10 event. And I'm just going to check in with Laurie. How many 10 by 10 events is this in total? This is the 75th. So it's kind of a big deal, and thank you all for being here tonight. And I would say the reason you're probably all here is because you have a really passionate friend who's really excited about this event and has worked pretty hard for the last few months, and definitely the last few weeks, haranguing everybody to get here tonight. So thank you. It means a lot to us. We are a skeleton crew of 7, so that doesn't really work with the 10 by 10 thing. There's been 7 of us making sure this all happens. I'm going to get everybody to wave. We've got Sophie, Jessie, Jess, Chris, where are the others? I can't see. Dave, Chelsea's in the back. I didn't miss anyone today. Good. And we're all here tonight, so thank you. And also passionately share with you what we've been working on. So to tell us a little bit more about what we're doing here and how this works, I'm thrilled to introduce Laurie, who's the founder of 10 by 10. He's come all the way from Sydney via New York to be here with us tonight and tell you a little bit more about what's going on. Come on out.
Thanks, Shemaine. And amazing to be here tonight in San Francisco. Our launch event here in San Francisco, a city that is famous for these types of pitching contests, innovation, and we've never got it going here. And thanks to Shmi and the incredible committee that's been put together, you guys have made this happen. So thank you. The first question people always tend to ask me about 10 by 10 is, how did this whole thing get started? And it's pretty simple, really. About 4 years ago, I moved back to Sydney after living in London and got together with a couple of like-minded friends, and we decided that we wanted to do something to give back to our local community. And in so doing, we saw that there were 2 problems that we really wanted to try and solve. The first was that we thought that everyone in our generation generally want to do good. We want to be involved in social change, philanthropy, live lives of purpose and meaning. But we all struggle with the same problem. We lack the time, the knowledge, and the infrastructure should do so in a way that's meaningful to us and that makes a difference. And the second problem we wanted to try and solve was that we really believed that change starts from the ground up. That the real heroes creating real change in communities are the people you're going to hear from tonight. People in grassroots organizations and communities all around the world are doing incredibly important work. And they all struggle with the same problem. They lack the fundraising capability, the resources, and the know-how to tell people about the amazing work that they do and to raise the funds that are crucial to sustain their ongoing impact. So we decided to start a movement. Our concept, simple. We get 10 people to invite 10 friends, each pledging $100, 10 by 10 by 100, that's $10,000. We get them to go into their to their friends, their network, people they work with, their workplaces, try and get that money match funded. Generally getting $10,000 to $20,000 a night. And then we asked 3 grassroots organizations that we felt were doing incredibly important work in the local communities that were solving social problems in an innovative and scalable way. And we'd invite them to a night like this and ask them to pitch. Each of these organizations will pitch for 5 minutes. We're then going to get 5 minutes of questions from our incredibly intimidating sharks. Laurie will have a chance to introduce them both in a minute. And then we're going to hand it over to you, the audience, to ask 5 minutes of questions. After you hear all 3 pitches, you'll then get the opportunity to hand your 2 $50 charity vouchers, tokens, in to support 2 of the organizations that you hear from. You can support 1, you can support 2, you can buy more dollars, and that's your opportunity. And then we do 2 other really important things at our 10 by 10 events. We try and match skills with needs. So we ask each of these non-for-profits that you'll hear from tonight what help they may need in non-financial ways. You all are in your room, incredibly talented, skilled people in various industries, and we know there's an incredible amount of capability in this room to help them. And generally we're finding that from 10 by 10 events, around 35% of the people that come go on to support the organizations in some way. So we give you all the opportunity to do that. And then to ensure 10 by 10 sustainability, we ask 10 people from the audience at the end of every 10 by 10 event to put up their hands to be part of the organizing committee for the next event, which means we're never pulling on the same pool of people and the model is always growing in scale. We started this in Sydney 4 years ago. It was just going to be my side hustle, my little thing to feel about doing my little part in the world, pat myself on the back at the end of every year. But the model took off. And we took it from Sydney to Melbourne, and then to Brisbane, and then across Australia. And we took it to Hong Kong, to London. Last year, launched in New York. 2 weeks ago in LA. And tonight is our launch night in San Francisco. It's our 75th event. Yeah! We've had over 8,000 people come attend our events. Over 800 people sit on our committees, be part of the organization of this. And tonight, guys, this is a really big number for us. Tonight, with a little bit more of your support, we're going to break through $2 million distributed to charity. So I'm really confident that tonight is a really meaningful night for our organization. We just started with one event, 10 people raising $10,000, and here we are, 4 years later, hopefully having given away $2 million. And so this is the power of an idea, the power that each of us have in each of our communities, wherever we live and exist around the world, to create real, meaningful, sustainable change. And that is our mission here at 10 by 10, and a model that we implant here with you in the city of San Francisco, and we give you all the opportunity to continue it after tonight. So, Shmi, I'd love to invite you back up to tell people how tonight is going to run. Thank you all for having me. It really fills my heart with such joy to look out and sort of see a full room. And I'd also just really like to thank Atlassian. They're an amazing Australian company. Tonight, this will be the last Australian accent you get tonight, I promise. And I'm not actually. Yeah, she's on the whole time. They're an amazing company that has supported us throughout our growth, and we wouldn't have been able to do what we have without them. So now, if you're in the room, thank you. And Shmi, over to you.
Right, folks, a few more thank yous, just briefly, and then I'll introduce you to our sharks and our charities. So first we have some volunteers helping us out tonight. So Lucy, Charlotte, Jack, Eitan, Dave, Bill, Chris. That's all of you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We really can't thank Atlassian enough. A couple of housekeeping rules. Stay this side of, I'm told they're called Stanions? They're like gatey things to there. Outside's awesome. Make sure you hang out there. There's a bar outside as well. I'm told there's no smoking outside. So do what you got to do where you got to do it. Mallory and Kelly, Laurie just thanked them. They're phenomenal. They made this all happen, and this space is pretty amazing. We have some amazing sponsors tonight. Our corporate sponsor is Union Bank. Our wine sponsor is Vine Connections, Cellar Makers, and Lagunitas have done beer for us. So I don't know that they're here, but let's give them a clap again. The other good one that we have that you get to all enjoy are the raffle prizes. There's a whole bunch of raffle prizes. I believe you had some spruikers at the door. They'll be doing it all night, so please get involved. You can get one ticket for $5, 5 tickets for $20, or an arm length of tickets. So that could be really useful depending on your arm length for $50.
Koshman has the longest arm.
Koshman has the longest arms. Where's Koshman? Thank you for volunteering for tonight. Awesome. The raffle prizes are from 450 Aesthetics, who are here tonight. Thank you guys. We've got Salt and Straw, Joe and the Juice, Laguna, Credo, Scribe, Blue Bottle, The Riddler, The Cheese School, Good Earth Natural Food, Anchor Meditation, and Luca Wineries. So, Koshman's arm, guys. Awesome. Alright, so let's hear what we're going to do tonight. So, in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to our 2 incredible sharks for tonight. They're sharks for good. You might have seen Shark Tank. It's going to be slightly different. They're a lot less intimidating, right? After that, we're going to hear from 3 phenomenal grassroots charities operating in the Bay Area. So they're each going to have 5 minutes to pitch, tell you a bit about what they do, And then we'll hand over to the sharks for a few minutes to ask them some questions. And then you're up, and you guys will have a chance to catch Dave as he runs around with the microphone, and you can ask the charities yourselves some questions, what you want to know, how you're going to decide where you make your impact for tonight. Then we're going to ask you to donate your charity dollars at the end, figure out where they go, purchase more if you're feeling that way inclined, and then while we count up and figure out what's going on, you'll have a chance to chat to your mates, enjoy the food and drinks, and chat to the charities a bit more about how you might get involved if you're interested, because there's a whole lot more we can be doing. We're going to come back together tonight just before 9 p.m. to give us a grand total of what we raised for tonight. As Laurie said, I think we're really, really close to reaching $2 million total raised by 10 by 10 internationally, so that's a pretty big deal for us here. And then we'll draw the raffle, and you can win all those fab prizes. So, without further ado, I'm thrilled to welcome Joe Hollandona, the CEO of the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. He's going to tell us a little bit more about why he's here, why he cares, and what we need to know about him for this evening.
I guess not. Hi, everyone. I have the opportunity to do several speaking events throughout the year, and I have to say this is the most attractive audience I've ever seen. So there's that. As Shmi said, my name is Joe Hollandona, and I'm the CEO at San Francisco AIDS Foundation. I've been at the foundation for the last 3 years, but have been in nonprofit for over 20 years. And actually, when I started out, I was a young person who was experiencing bullying at school and really got involved with LGBT youth work as a result of that. And later in my early part of my career, I ended up founding a center for LGBT young people experiencing homelessness in Chicago, and so grew from $0 budget to an organization that was a $5 million budget. So I have a lot of empathy for what you all are going through tonight, and hope to offer you support, and to also then say that that opportunity really gave me this platform and the opportunity to lead San Francisco AIDS Foundation, a $55 million organization, and we are well positioned to end HIV infections in San Francisco, and believe that we'll get there in the next 5 years. So really delighted to be here.
Thanks so much, Joe. And I'm also pleased to introduce Dr. Shoshana Andalaida. Is that right?
You got it.
And I'm told that she's a physician, founder of the End World Project, and an Oscar-nominated film producer. But I just really think she's quite badass. So she's going to talk about that.
Thank you. So nice to be with you. So I'm a physician. I'm the founder of the End World Project, which is a San Francisco-based nonprofit media platform and annual symposium focused on interdisciplinary innovation to make the end-of-life experience more human-centered. We exist because far too many people are really suffering at the end of life and getting care that's not in line with their goals and their values of the life that they've lived. And I don't know if you guys are all young, and I don't know if you've experienced being ill in your own families or among your friends, but by default in this country, you'll get care, invasive, aggressive care, no matter how old you are, no matter how sick you are, and even if it won't help you, unless you opt out very loudly. And so EndWell exists because we believe that the end-of-life experience is not necessarily a medical issue, it's a human issue, and it behooves all of us to get involved in a conversation about having a relationship with our own mortality throughout life. So we brought together the worlds of tech and design, also policy and healthcare, the media, arts, education, patients and caregivers to talk about what living well until the very end looks like. And so we put on an annual symposium every year in San Francisco. This year it's December 5th at SF Jazz, so if any of that is appealing to you, check it out. And my interest in philanthropy actually started early. From as long as I can remember back, my parents, my grandparents talked about the importance in our family of giving back, of making the world a better place. And so I'm lucky that I get to do that every day in my profession, being a doctor. But I also know that philanthropy is an ever-changing landscape, and so what I love about 10 by 10 is that crowdfunding for change welcoming new people to learn about what's going on in your own community, to get involved, I think is really important. So I'm just excited to be here, and would love to see what's next.
Thanks, Shoshana. All right, guys, so the committee has looked at a whole bunch of really amazing, innovative charities in the Bay Area who are finding innovative ways to solve complex problems. And I'm very, very happy to call upon our first charity. This is Jessica Donig from Miracle Messages, and she's going to tell you a bit more about what's going on.
So, I was in an Uber when I got the phone call. It was October of 2017, and her name was Lavetta. She told me that she had gotten a message about Timothy Coleman, a homeless man who had been searching for his family. She said that her mother, Betty, was Timothy's sister, and that they had been waiting for him, waiting to hear from him for years, and that they had a bed for him, and they just were hoping that he was alive and well, that he would call one day. She called me, and I helped Timothy get home. That was 2 years ago almost. He's still living at home with his family. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit organization called Miracle Messages that helps people like Timothy reconnect with their loved ones. So far, we've reconnected 230 people experiencing homelessness with the people that they love and who love them. That is not something that you hear every day when you talk about homelessness, but it's something that matters to the people who are experiencing homelessness, and so it matters to us. So how did this begin? Well, the founder, Kevin Adler, had an uncle who had been on and off the streets for 30 years. And so whereas many of us walk down the street and we see people experiencing homelessness, and we don't give it another thought, or maybe we think about it as a problem to be solved, Kevin saw homelessness a different way. He saw his uncle as a person to be loved, and he saw the other people who he passed on the streets as equally valid and important. And so he started asking people who they were and where they came from and what their stories were. And he started hearing something over and over again that shocked him. People would say, I didn't feel like I was homeless when I lost my housing, only when I lost my family and friends. Now, sit with that for a minute and think about how many of us in this room have had to rely on a family member or friend in a moment of crisis or a moment of transition, or just needing to call somebody to get through a bad day. And now imagine if that person wasn't there, how that would feel, how it might have changed your life. What we do at Miracle Messages is we make sure that every person who needs a lifeline has one, and that in 2019, where all of us in this audience have digital access, where we all have smartphones, the barrier to a person reconnecting or connecting with the people that they love that might help them get through a tough day, isn't the fact that nobody asks them, is there someone you want to reconnect with? So how are we doing this? Well, honestly, it's a network of volunteers. I am here as one half of the full-time team. Kevin is the other half. We also have a part-time team of community ambassadors sitting right there, my heart and soul, Beverly and Ryan. They are San Franciscans, San Francisco natives. They love this city. They love the people who live here. And they go out on the streets and they offer people the opportunity to reconnect. And as Beverly says so frequently, she says, somebody's got to love these people. And Ryan and Beverly are out there showing people love and offering people the opportunity to access love. And it's not just love. We've had people go into recovery because they want to be better grandparents. We've had people say that they're no longer suicidal because they finally got to say I'm sorry to that daughter that they haven't talked to for 25 years. We've had people get job opportunities. And we all know the power of social networks and how that sustains people, how it moves people forward. Imagine not having that. And imagine being at your most vulnerable point and not having it. So that's what we do. So at this point, I just want to move on a little bit to how you all can help. And I want to tell you that if you have a smartphone, which I know that you do, you are eminently qualified to do this. I do it all the time. I do it on my way to work. I just took somebody to reconnect with his mom and go home this morning. And I did it by stopping and giving someone the time of day. And I've been trained to ask people to do 4 things. To give their treasure, that's your tokens. To give their time, that's your efforts, your volunteer efforts. To give their ties, that's your connections on social media. And to give their time. And I'm also going to ask you to give a final thing, which is the time of day. Give people who are experiencing homelessness the time of day, look them in the eye, treat them as someone somebody, because we know at Miracle Messages that everyone is someone somebody.
Here, here.
She needs some.
Thank you. That was great. So I am learning about